Welcome back to another console collector video. Hey everybody, console collector here. Today we're going to take a look at my Super Nintendo boxed games collection. We're going to look at every single one of my games for Super Nintendo that I have complete in box. Now we're going to break it up into a few different categories, starting off with the common average games, followed by intermediate or uncommon games. Then we're going to go into my most nostalgic games. Then we're going to look at big boxes and special editions, followed by my high-end box games. Then we're going to finish off with my top 10 favorite Super Nintendo games of all time. So without further ado, let's take a look at the Console Collector's Box Super Nintendo collection. We're going to start off with the common games. And here we have Mortal Kombat 1. Mortal Kombat 2. Mortal Kombat 3. Super Play Action Football. Super Mario All-Stars. Animaniacs. NHL PA Hockey 93. Uniracers. Shaq Fu. Spider-Man and X-Men in Arcade's Revenge. Spider-Man. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I love this box art. Vegas Stakes. This one is sealed. Lethal Weapon. NCAA basketball. Cool Spot. Tetris and Dr. Mario, Player's Choice. NHL Stanley Cup. F-Zero. Star Trek The Next Generation, Futures Past. I actually really hate that game. Revolution X, featuring Aerosmith. Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park 2, The Chaos Continues. Aladdin, classic. Pac-Man 2, The New Adventures. Pink Goes to Hollywood. Alright, so that's it for the common games. Let's move on to my intermediate games. Here we have the RoboCop vs. Terminator. This is the really cool box. That's the hard plastic one. Here's Spider-Man and Venom in Separation Anxiety. I really love this box art. Then we have Marvel Superheroes in War of the Gems. This was an old rental for me. Really enjoyed this game. Next, Lemmings 2, Tribes. Looney Tunes B-Ball, another really awesome rental back in the day. Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. Super Ghouls and Ghosts. The Incredible Crash Test Dummies. Alright, we're going to move on to my most nostalgic games now. These games are the games that I played a lot as a child or remember fondly and not so fondly. Ones that really mean something to me from the Super Nintendo era. I just want to say that all my box games actually are games that have some kind of meaning to me. I don't just get box games for the heck of it. I either had them as a child, used to rent them, or played with friends, or I just like them. So there's a little story behind every box game, which is why you'll see things as common as NHL Stanley Cup and to uncommon and rare things that you'll see a little later. Alright, so nostalgia games. Simearth. This was a game that I used to rent a lot. I really enjoyed SimCity, and when this came out, I was like, wow, another sim game? I'm going to try it out. Basically, you control an ant colony, and you're trying to get into this guy's house. It kind of sounds really weird, but if you want to know the lifestyle of an ant, this is it. I recently played through this as an adult, and it's not as good as I remembered it, but still, Simearth is very nostalgic for me, and I don't think it's a bad game. Next up is Paperboy 2. Countless hours and hours and days playing this as a child with my siblings and my mother. She loved Paperboy. It's Paperboy. It was really fun, and it's actually aged pretty good. So, Paperboy 2. Super Buster Bros. This game I ended up owning as a child because the rental store would always sell off older games, right? And this is one I picked up for like $5 or $10, cart only, and yeah, you basically just pop these little balls or balloons. It's like I want to say puzzle game, action puzzle game. It's actually pretty good. I played through it again recently, and yeah, it's a good game. Pretty uncommon too, at least in the box. Adventures of Dr. Franken. This was another old rental copy that my mom bought for us, and yeah, it's okay. I wouldn't say it's bad. Average at best. Dr. Franken. Here's Batman Forever. Now, get ready for the hate, but I like this game. People say it sucks, but I beat it as, I'd say, an 8 or 10-year-old or so. It was extremely hard. I did it with the help of my big brother. We loved the movie, which I know people hate that one too, but no. I definitely thought the movie was good and the game was good. So, yep, Batman Forever. I like it. Toy Story, my second favorite Disney movie of all time. This was another rental game that I actually completed, which was rare for me at the time because when Super Nintendo was out I was pretty young, and yeah, we didn't beat many of the rentals, but this was one. So yeah, Toy Story. Love this game too. I actually got my kids playing it now, which is really cool. Star Fox. Like most people, I just remember how fantastic this game looked when it came out. It was state of the art, like unreal how good this game looked. I never beat it as a child, but I have completed it as an adult, and it was pretty easy, not gonna lie. But still, it's playable. Let's start Box. Justice League Task Force. This was a game that my older brother got from a friend, and he would borrow it from his friend, and we played it a lot. We got pretty competitive, so very nostalgic for me in that aspect. Remember playing a lot with my brothers. So yeah, it's basically like a DC fighting game. It's definitely not as good as I remember. It's actually pretty bad. The controls are slow and sloppy, but it's in that nostalgic category. Battle Clash. This game is dirt cheap, but I was one of the lucky kids that had a Super Scope when it was new. And I remember having so much fun with this game. I beat it as a child and I beat it as an adult, and I think it's a great game. Just not many people played it because you need that Super Scope. That's Battle Clash. Lion King, my favorite Disney movie of all time. This was another rental that I never beat, but it's Lion King. Really enjoyed it. I remember getting to the part where you battle Scar, and I just couldn't beat it. I have beaten it recently, and it's a good game. It's extremely difficult in some parts, though. That's Lion King. The Death and Return of Superman. This was my oldest brother's favorite game on the Super Nintendo back in the day. We played this game a lot. I seen him beat it as a child. I never could, it was too hard, but it's actually a really, really good beat 'em up. And you don't hear a lot of people talk about it. Yeah, Death and Return of Superman. It's a really good Super Nintendo beat 'em up. One player, unfortunately. And here we have Donkey Kong Country. What do I have to say? Nostalgia? Yeah, who didn't play this? Amazing, mind-blowing game. Yeah, I could go on all day about how great this game is and how nostalgic it is. So that's Donkey Kong Country. Super Soccer. This is one of those games that I played with my brothers, and they'd beat the snot out of me, make me be the lousiest team possible. I think it was Belgium or something. Simply nostalgic. That's the only reason why I have it in the box. Bubsy. This was a game that my friend traded me for some other game. I can't really recall, but I liked it when I was a kid. I don't know why it gets so much hate. It's actually pretty good, I thought. I've even played it recently with my mom on a nostalgic trip, and yeah, it's really not that bad. So maybe it's my nostalgic goggles talking, but I didn't think it was that bad. Bubsy. Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble. This game I rented a lot towards the end of the Super Nintendo's life. I remember renting it simply because there wasn't that much Super Nintendo stuff to choose from. It was mainly 64 at the time, and I didn't have a 64 yet. So we rented this, and yeah, I liked it. It was really good. There's this lightning stage, if I recall, in this game that was just brutal. That's Donkey Kong Country 3. Street Fighter 2. I was one of those poor saps that didn't have Turbo, Street Fighter 2 Turbo as a kid. This is the one that I played, and the only one we had. And yeah, countless hours played with my brothers. They made me get good because, yeah, they just beat the snot out of me over and over and over. So I practice in all my free time. Very nostalgic game. It's definitely not the best version of it, but yeah, nostalgia. Next up, Chester Cheetah, Too Cool to Fool. This is another one of those games that gets a lot of hate. I beat it as a kid and recently again. It's not that bad. It's mediocre at best. It's definitely not as good as I remember. But yeah, the Cheetos game. Funny enough, this game was actually pretty hard to find in the box. I don't know why these crappier low-end games are so hard to find in the box. But Chester Cheetah. NHL 94. Anybody that is a fan of old school hockey games know that NHL 94 is the best. And it is. Just, wow. Awesome game. And, you know, I still can play it today. It's just as fun. So, yeah. You want an old retro NHL game? Get NHL 94. Whether it's on Super Nintendo or the Sega CD or Genesis. Yeah, there's really not a bad version of it. NHL 94. SimCity. This game started the SimCity love. Countless hours building cities, destroying them with Bowser. Yeah, I love this game. It's not aged very well, but it's definitely playable. This is one of the first Super Nintendo games that we had, so I believe we had Pilot Wings, SimCity, and Super Mario World. And yeah, when you beat Super Mario World and you get stuck on Pilot Wings, we always ended up back at this game. So that's SimCity. Speaking of Pilot Wings, again, this is one of the first Super Nintendo games I had, and I played the snot out of it. I remember getting to the part where there's like the helicopter training, I believe, and I never got past that. And I tried playing it recently, a couple years ago, and yeah, I just couldn't get some of the missions done, unfortunately. But really fun game. So that's Pilot Wings. Next up, we got Super Tennis. This is actually a great tennis game. Super nostalgic. Again, this was a game I played with my family, my brother and my mom a lot, so very nostalgic. It's probably one of the best tennis games on the system, so I've heard. I haven't played them all, but this is still a great game and it aged very well. Alright, so we're getting down. This is the second last nostalgic game, Simearth. This game sucks. Maybe it sucks because I'm not smart with like environments and breeding life onto a planet. We had this as a kid and it never got played because it's just, you don't know what you're doing. There was no walkthroughs we could look up online. It was just read the manual and that's it. I don't like this game. I still don't like this game, and the only reason why I have it was because it was really cheap in box. I think it was like 15 bucks or something, and unfortunately I had it as a child, and in my collecting goals I want every game that I had as a child complete in box, and this turd is in that category. That's Simearth. Last game in the nostalgia category, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. I saved this game for last because I probably rented this game for a year straight. Me and one of my old friends, every weekend, it was, let's play Mortal Kombat Ultimate 3. He'd come over, we'd have a sleepover, just being kids. I think we were 10 or 12, something like that at the time. And yeah, I always rented this copy. Now, the funny thing is, I still have the copy that I rented over and over and over. It is just beat, but I still have it. I have a mint copy inside the box. The video store that I rented it from was going out of business, and bad me, I never took it back. I was like, I don't know, 16 at the time. I didn't care. I just kept renting it, and then, yeah, never took it back. They went out of business, and yeah, that cart is one of the only carts I still have from my childhood. My mom got rid of a lot, unfortunately, but some survived, and this was one. Still got it, and as beat up as it is, I love that cart. A lot of memories. So. Enough rambling about this game, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Alright, we're going to take a look at some like special ones now. Here I have the Super Game Boy in box. Play your Game Boy games on your Super Nintendo. I love this thing as a kid because you didn't have to eat up the batteries to play your Game Boy games. So, yeah, great invention. I never use it anymore because of the GameCube Game Boy player, but seriously, great invention. Next up, which this game is nostalgic, as well as a special kind of box, and that's the Mario Paint big box. Another game that I sunk a good part of my life into. Creating music, drawing, coloring, all that fun stuff. Love this game. And anyone else that loves Mario Paint, if you somehow have the chance, play Mario Artist on the N64 disk drive, DD. It's basically the Mario Paint sequel. It's really cool. This was one of the games that featured the mouse. So yeah, Mario Paint. Where is my mind at? Next up, probably the rarest of my big boxes, the Bomberman Party Pack. Rented this game as a lot, so it's nostalgic. Awesome game. I used to remember we had to rent the multi-tap with it, so my two brothers, my sister, and my mom could all play with us. Yeah. Very, very good game, and such a rare big box. Still very happy that I was able to get my hands on one. So that's the Super Bomberman Party Pack. Alright, getting down to the wire here. Let's take a look at my higher end boxed games. Starting with Super Metroid. This game is also nostalgic for me because this was one that my friend lent me, and it's such a deep, involved game. Never beat it as a kid, but I did beat it, I think about 5 years ago, and it is definitely a great game. Probably my favorite Metroid game. Yes, even over Prime. Next up, Battletoads Double Dragon. I mentioned this little story in a previous video, but my friend lent me this game, and I think I lent him Cool Spot. And he moved away with my Cool Spot, and I got to keep Battletoads. This game is hard as heck. Never beat it, ever. I do want to go back to it someday and beat it, but yeah, it's a really fun beat 'em up. It's just really hard. So that's Battletoads Double Dragon. Cybernator. This is a nostalgic game. We had this as a kid. My older brothers played it a lot. I didn't play it so much. I just wasn't into mech or robots, and I'm really not still, but yeah. Part of my childhood box game collection, Cybernator. Next up, Home Improvement. This game sucks. Home Improvement's one of my favorite TV shows of all time, and that's mainly the reason why I have this game. I did rent it a couple times back in the day from the rental store. Needless to say, after a few rentals, I gave up. It's not a good game. But that's Home Improvement on the Super Nintendo. Next up, Turtles in Time. Who doesn't love this game? Awesome, awesome fun game. This is a game that my friend would bring over and we'd play together. Really wish it was 4-player with the multi-tap. Missed opportunity there, but still, really, really fun game. Next up, we have Zombies Ate My Neighbors. This game is one of the carts that survived over the years, and I still have it. I never beat it. I'm working on actually beating it recently. It's a really fun game. I really enjoy it. Highly underrated. Me, I'm a big zombie fan. This game kind of sparked my love for zombies back in the day. So, Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Next up, its successor, Ghoul Patrol. This game doesn't quite feel the same as Zombies Ate My Neighbors. It's like similar, but not exactly. But it is the sequel. It's not a bad game. I've never beaten this one either. But yeah, I love these two games. So having the set together was very cool. All right, one more for my high-end games, and this is a recent pickup, and it was the final game I wanted in my boxed SNES collection. That is Mega Man 7. Most of you may know, this game is incredibly rare and incredibly expensive. So, yeah, I got this recently, and I was super excited because now I completed my Mega Man 1 through 10 physical copy collection that are all complete in box. So, yeah, Mega Man 7. I never played it as a child or anything. This was mainly just to complete that Mega Man physical collection. I know that Mega Man 7's kind of in the Mega Man X style of graphics. That's not really my thing. I like the 8-bit versions, but again, pretty hard to find box. Simply got it for the nostalgia, or for the collection, the Mega Man collection. So that's Mega Man 7. That's the last of my high-end boxes in that category. Alright, to finish off this video, we're going to take a look at my top 10 favorite Super Nintendo games of all time. Number 10, Donkey Kong Country 2. It was like Donkey Kong Country 1, but better, in my opinion. Diddy and Dixie, great combo, lots of fun, challenging, an old rental for me. Love this game. So that's number 10. Number 9, Tetris Attack. For anyone that's played this game, you instantly fall in love. This game single-handedly started my love for puzzle games. What a great game. And there was a spiritual successor on the N64, Pokemon Puzzle League. It took what this game did and made it better, especially with the 3D. So, number 9, Tetris Attack. Love this game. Number 8, Spider-Man and Venom and Maximum Carnage. Another really great game. My favorite beat-em-up game probably of all time. The only complaint I have is there's no multiplayer. Why? Why didn't you put multiplayer? But Venom being my favorite Marvel character of all time, I remember playing as Venom in this game and I just was blown away. This sequel to this game is Separation Anxiety, and that game just wasn't quite as good, honestly. Nothing beats Maximum Carnage. I would love to get the special edition Maximum Carnage someday, but there's never one online. I never see anybody selling one, but maybe one day. So yeah, number 8, Maximum Carnage. Number 7, Smart Ball. Some of my regular viewers will know how much I love this game. Jerry Boy is his name, and that's the game in Japan. You're basically this blue blob. This was an old rental game that I rented a lot and was never able to beat, but I did beat it as an adult. Really, really fun platformer. So that was number 7, Smart Ball. Number 6, Super Mario Kart. I can't even tell you how many hours this game sucked out of my life. Really, really fun family game. We played this a ton. Yeah, I love this game. It's still one of my favorites today. I know some people don't like how it's aged, but it's still very playable, and I actually did a full playthrough and completed it 100% recently. Still got it. So that was number 6, Super Mario Kart. Now we're getting into the games that really mean something to me as a collector and as a gamer, and they're all very nostalgic in this top 10, by the way. So here we have Lemmings. Number 5. Like, well, I mean, how do I explain this game? You're basically controlling these little dudes here through different like obstacles and trying to get them to the goals. It's a puzzle game, I'm gonna say, because man, it made me think as a kid. I believe that this game heavily inspired Pikmin, which Pikmin is one of my favorite games of all time. It took what Lemmings did and just made it way better. I actually beat this game a couple weeks ago, and it's still very, very good, aged decently. I had a lot of fun with it. Very nostalgic as well. So that's Lemmings. Number 5. Number 4, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. My favorite Zelda game of all time. Yes, over Ocarina of Time. Yes, over Breath of the Wild and Majora's Mask. Even Twilight Princess. This game to me is perfect. Another game that I played as a child and I beat, which was a huge accomplishment. Like, what do you have to say about this game? Everybody knows how great it is. It's just phenomenal. Best Zelda game in my opinion, and my favorite. So that's The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, number 4. Number 3, Super Mario World. Of course this would be on the list. Who doesn't love this game? This game's amazing. Super nostalgic. Beat it countless times in my life, from when I was a child up to now. I've recently been trying to speedrun it with some friends for charity plays. Such an amazing game. Believe it or not, this game was incredibly hard to find in the box, non-player's choice. So very happy to find this super common game in the box. But yeah, that's number 3. Super Mario World. What could be number 2 and number 1 if Mario World's only 3? Well, number 2, Earthbound. No, it's not because it's rare. I rented this game as a kid, and I absolutely loved it. I never beat it as a young kid, but I had such a good time with it. My second favorite Super Nintendo game. Such a great game. This game, along with my number 1 choice, spoiler alert, really inspired me to play RPGs. Like, they were my introduction to RPGs. Just really love Earthbound. Loved it for years. I remember when I unlocked NES in Smash Bros. 64, and I absolutely lost my mind because I'd never seen him like in that kind of form before, 3-dimensional. So that's number 2, Earthbound. Slide him back there. Number 1. If you have a keen ear, you've probably heard the music playing in the background as a clue to my favorite game of all time on the Super Nintendo. And that is Super Mario RPG, Legend of the 7 Stars. Squaresoft, I believe, what they were known as at the time, and Nintendo's baby. It's a Mario RPG. This is one of my favorite games of all time. Super nostalgic. Played it as a child. I've beaten it as a child. Beat it as an adult. Everything is great about this game, from the Axum Rangers to the Forest Maze. I like Mallow. The one thing that I really loved about this game was Bowser was working with Mario. Bowser being my favorite character of all time, it was like a dream come true. I got to play as Bowser. I played this game probably once a year, full playthroughs, beat it. It's just such a great game. I remember finding the Culex battle when I was a kid. Like, this is the game that we would talk about at school, and friends would spread rumors or talk about, like, the blackjack room, which I thought was fake forever. Yeah, just so much in this game. Such a great game. I love it. I love it so much that I actually got a complete in box version for the Super Famicom. Just, yeah, I can't tell you enough about these games. Play Earthbound and Super Mario RPG if you can. Even if you don't like RPGs, you will love these games, I assure you. They're just that good. Alright, this video was way longer than I expected, so thank you for sticking it out to the very end. I'd love to know, what are your guys' favorite Super Nintendo games? Please let me know in the comments. Yeah, the Super Nintendo, such a great console. I was very happy to finally make this video with you guys. So, I want to thank everybody for watching, and again, sticking it out to the end. Let me know what your favorite Super Nintendo game is. Again, I'd love to hear from you guys and gals. Alright, so I am the Console Collector, and until the next video, happy gaming.